practical videos has given you an insight into some of the practical ideas around developing the whole child through sport. In addition to this, there's various coaching resources where they've tried to embed development of the whole child. An example of this is the sport and multi-skill cards, where they developed an opportunity section. This section gives an example of many opportunities that each activity presents. So they're activity resources, but each activity has different whole child development opportunities in it. As a deliverer in conjunction with a participant, you can then decide which opportunities, outcomes are most desirable and how the activity can be adapted to achieve these. So then again, you engage in that conversation about making it child-centred and then decide what they're hoping to develop through that activity. So here you can see an example of one of these activity cards. And as you can see on this one, it's called a throw thriller. And the opportunities within this activity card is to develop throwing techniques, so it's looking at the physical side. Improve control and balance, so developing those key movements. Developing strength and power and speed. But then as you can see, some of the other areas it can look to develop, measure, record and calculate accurately. So there's some mathematical skills that, can get the kids to measure information, record it and calculate it. And then the final one, take more responsibility for their own actions and begin to understand associated risks. So again, it's starting to think about that person and those perceptual and personal skills. The next one, another example, is a spot-to-spot activity card. And within this, it's definitely hones in on some of those more whole child development processes. So learning to cooperate with others to solve problems. Learning to contribute to a democratic decision-making process, so there's communicating, deciding ideas with others. Taking responsibility for actions and begin to understand associated risks. And watch other teammates and say what is good and what they could do to make them better and using their keywords. So again, that's that evaluation techniques. So you can clearly see how these activity cards have really thought about that whole child perspective with those key areas and how a simple activity can develop some of those additional areas that sport has a great opportunity to work on. So focusing on that, some key objectives that have been identified as a result of those resource cards are 10 areas that have been highlighted to develop the whole child, from developing thinking, communication, ITC skills, so that's IT literacy, developing numbers, working with others, improving their own learning, active citizenship, so that's a bit of like sportsmanship type stuff, helping each other, health, promotion and well-being, developing emotional well-being, moral and spiritual development and preparing for lifelong learning. So all of these key things can be achieved through sport. So now I'm going to ask you to complete a task sheet on the whole child. There are 10 areas that have been identified that can develop the whole child, which can be found on the left-hand side of this activity sheet. On the right-hand side of the activity sheet, there are key points and actions which could fit into those 10 areas. So what I'd like you to do is look at this task sheet and decide which areas the key points fit into by drawing a line across where you think they match, or matching the numbers up. Once you've matched those numbers up, I'd like you to give a practical example of what you could do in your coaching sessions to develop each of these areas. So use your imagination experience, maybe some of the ideas I've given during today of how you could develop one of those 10 key areas through your sporting delivery. Spend a little time on this because it really starts to get you thinking about your coaching environment, how you can develop the whole child through it.